Look right at me for a second. Right now, someone is trying to hack your brain. Not your phone, not your email, your actual physical brain. And the scariest part? They're probably succeeding. Think about it. We have hundreds of passwords, encryption algorithms, biometric scanners, and military-grade security locking down our phones. But our biological hardware, our minds, it's basically protected by absolutely nothing. It is completely exposed. Welcome to the architecture of cognitive hacking. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. We're going to expose exactly how your mind is being manipulated, who is pulling the strings, and most importantly, how you can build a mental firewall to stop them. Let's get started. Here is our threat briefing roadmap. First, we'll look at the unprotected brain. Second, the 5 cognitive hacking tactics used against you. Third, the hackers and the evidence behind this manipulation. And finally, 5 actionable steps to detox. Section 1. The unprotected brain. Why your brain is vulnerable. We really have to ask ourselves, why are we, as highly intelligent human beings, so incredibly easy to manipulate in the digital age? Why does a simple glowing rectangle have so much power over our daily lives and thoughts? Well, 200,000 years ago, your brain evolved for one simple primary job: to survive a predator hiding in the bushes. Fast forward to the year 1900, the total amount of information a person was exposed to in their entire lifetime was incredibly limited. But today, modern manipulators have totally figured out the ancient code of that survival-wired brain. We essentially have a prehistoric biological operating system trying to process a hyper-modern, algorithm-driven world. And that evolutionary mismatch is exactly what creates our vulnerability.
Section 2. 5 cognitive hacking tactics. The attack vectors.
So, if your brain is vulnerable, how exactly is it being breached? We're going to expose the enemy's playbook right now so you know exactly what to look out for. These are the 5 main attack vectors used against your mind every single day: the dopamine loop, social proof manipulation, the scarcity trick, confirmation bias exploitation, and cognitive overload. Let's systematically break down each one of these threats. First up, the dopamine loop. Notice the word engineered here. The dopamine loop isn't some tragic accident of modern technology. Every app you use, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, is deliberately designed to trigger dopamine in your brain. Swipe, reward, repeat. Now, what's really interesting about this is that former tech engineers have actually admitted on camera that they intentionally built these systems knowing full well they would become addictive. While your phone's security stops data theft, a hacked brain loses its time, its attention, and ultimately its free choices. Next up is social proof manipulation, which exploits our herd instinct. That's our built-in human vulnerability, to assume that if a ton of other people believe something, it just must be true. You see 10,000 likes on a post and your brain instantly goes, wow, this is important. But those likes, they might be completely fake. That hyperactive comment section might be entirely engineered. The trend you think is naturally happening was likely planted by an algorithm, using your own herd instinct against you. And this herd mentality feeds directly into the third tactic, the scarcity trick. We hear phrases like only 2 items left, or offer expires in 3 hours constantly, right? When your ancient brain hears scarcity, it shifts straight into survival mode. Critical thinking shuts down entirely, and raw emotion takes over. Neuromarketing is a literal multi-billion-dollar industry dedicated to hacking this very fear of missing out, forcing you into emotional purchases before you even realize what's happening. Tactic number 4 is a terrifying truth about how we process information: confirmation bias exploitation. In reality, the world is filled with diverse viewpoints and complex, sometimes contradictory facts. But your personalized echo chamber is algorithmically weaponized to show you only the content that perfectly matches what you already believe. You feel completely informed and absolutely certain of your worldview, but you're actually trapped in an isolated bubble designed intentionally to keep you comfortable and scrolling. And finally, tactic 5, cognitive overload. Think about this. We consume more information in one single day than a person in 1900 did in their entire lifetime. Your brain physically cannot process this sheer volume of data. So what does it do? It retreats. It shuts down critical thinking and switches onto autopilot just to survive the deluge. And that exact moment when you're overwhelmed and running on autopilot is precisely when you are the most hackable. Section 3. The hackers and the evidence. Who is stealing your attention and how we know? We've seen the tactics, but who exactly is stealing your attention? Big tech isn't the only adversary here. They're just the most obvious one because their entire business model relies on your behavior. But they aren't alone. We have politicians across the entire political spectrum utilizing these cognitive tactics to secure your vote. We have news outlets hacking your brain to keep you agitated and continually watching. We have influencers manipulating your attention to sell you products. The crucial difference is this: a phone hacker wants to steal your data, but a brain hacker, they want to control you. And you don't have to just take my word for this. The evidence is heavily documented in the scientific community. A recent Stanford study found that heavy social media users show brain activation patterns similar to people with substance abuse problems. Let that sink in. That is profound. The sheer severity of the neurological impact here means your brain is actively being chemically altered by the little icons sitting right there on your home screen. A study out of UCLA further proved this chemical reality. They showed that receiving social media likes triggers the exact same reward centers in our brains as gambling or even hard drugs. This digital manipulation is not a coincidence. The platform interfaces, the endless scrolling, the notification pings, they are deliberately engineered to keep that reward center firing, making you crave the next hit. Section 4. 5 Steps to Detox, the Defense Protocol. So the crucial point is, how do we fight back? You are not powerless. Consider this your digital detox training montage. Let's shift away from the problem and focus entirely on empowering you with the solution. These are the 5 mandatory, actionable steps to build your mental firewall and reclaim your focus. Step 1 is awareness. Step 2 is creating intentional friction. Step 3 is treating your attention as sacred. Step 4 is to ask one question. And Step 5 is to reclaim your autonomy. Let's break down exactly how you execute these daily habits. Step 1 is awareness. The golden rule of cognitive security is that you cannot hack what you see coming. Just by understanding how these dopamine loops and scarcity tricks actually work, you are already ahead of 99% of the population. You can now spot the digital trap before you step in it. Step 2 is where we implement daily habits to create intentional friction. You literally need to break the automated patterns your brain falls into. Delete those highly distracting apps from your phone. Force yourself to log out of platforms after every single use, so you actually have to type your password to get back in. Turn off all non-essential notifications. By adding these tiny hurdles, you give your brain a precious second to stop and ask, wait, do I really want to be doing this right now? Step 3 is remembering your attention is sacred, which leads directly into Step 4, asking this one critical question. Before you engage with any piece of content, any new product, or any viral idea, pause and ask yourself, who benefits if I believe this? If the answer isn't you, walk away. This simple daily habit is absolutely one of the most powerful tools you have to filter out the noise and protect your cognitive space. Finally, Step 5, reclaim your autonomy. Your attention is your single most valuable asset. The moment you realize billion-dollar industries are trying to steal it is the exact moment you can start taking it back. When you actively choose what you consume, who you listen to, and where you direct your focus, you rip the control panel away from the algorithms and put it right back in your own hands. I want to leave you with an uncomfortable truth. You aren't really addicted to your phone. The glass and the metal do absolutely nothing for you. What you are actually addicted to is the feeling your phone gives you, the dopamine hits, the social validation, the temporary escape from boredom. And there are entire industries whose sole job is to exploit that feeling. But now, you have the defensive tools to dismantle their systems. Your brain was never meant to be a device waiting to be hacked by an endless feed. It is a brilliant, powerful weapon waiting to be unleashed on the world. You know the tactics they use. You now know the daily habits required to detox and reclaim your focus. So the only question left to answer is this: what are you going to do about it?